Burnout is also known as 21st century health epidemic. And I can totally relate. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Unstitched Podcast. We are your hosts, Hannah
and Vika. Today we want to talk about a burnout, as it is a pretty big thing in our society these days. Our experience is out there for you guys to potentially relate to. Hopefully you don't have to relate to it and you'll never experience burnout, but just in case, you're not alone, okay? Yeah, mainly I just want to talk about burnout because, well, I'm burnt out. So it's fitting. The fact that you were like, oh, let's talk about that. I was like, fucking perfect. I have no energy for anything else but that. That I can talk about. Oh, man.
I'm kind of sad that we've moved away from the pandemic mindset of everybody is doing the best that they can and you need to rest and take care of yourself. I feel like there was this movement during the pandemic where people were all of a sudden cared again about people's well-being, in job settings especially.
Yeah, I don't remember anything like that. Tell me, actually, yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to have an idea because what you're saying doesn't resonate with me. How was it in America? Because I'm guessing it was very similar experience to here, but potentially different. Yeah. Because in here, I mean, most people went on furlough, just getting paid 80% of their salary and just doing nothing all day, or doing whatever they want to do, hobbies and all the things.
Yeah,
I had to work
furlough
through the whole thing. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how people made ends meet. How was it? Do you know?
I have no clue. Everybody got a stipend. There was a chunk of money that was sent out, but it wasn't nearly enough to cover people's rents and stuff. So that was rough. And then a lot of jobs went remote. So that was kind of how it ended up working out. But
yeah,
furlough isn't really a thing. And I just felt American workforce, and maybe I'm generalizing too much, but I feel a lot of it is if you're not vomiting or have a fever or on your deathbed, you go to work. And I felt during the pandemic, all of a sudden it was oh my gosh, do you have a tickle in your throat? Stay home. All of a sudden people cared again. And I feel that's when I heard a lot more about burnout. I hadn't heard about it before the pandemic.
We need to talk about that because I went a little bit deep because I was actually curious of how old this concept is.
Yeah.
And I figured that it would be fairly modern.
It's not.
Well, it's 50 years old. So
yeah.
they developed it in the 70s. So it's 50 years old. Bear in mind, that's kind of before the computers and the internet, and that's, well, actually it is a couple of years, a decade before, and there was already burnout. And actually, one of the people who developed it, because it's really interesting because two people kind of at the same time from different sides of the world were developing the same concept, which is weird. But one of them was I think he was a doctor. He worked, well, obviously scientist. He was looking at nurses and doctors, which is direct correlation with modern burnout. Makes total sense that in other workplaces, people didn't pick up on that kind of concept. But at the hospitals where they're doing 24-hour, 36-hour shifts all the time, of course that's gonna happen. So it's actually really interesting that it is modern, but yeah.
No, I agree. What I was just gonna say is I feel all of us. I feel this shift has happened in this past year of all of a sudden
I would
not
say
caring
so, yeah.
as much. We're reverting back to beforehand when we just didn't really
back to normal
care. Yeah, I feel and I mean I think that's just part of living in a modern day capitalist society, but
do you think it could be something with I want to catch up on all the things that I missed out on?
Maybe
potentially
I feel that
career wise. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, and I also think technology has a huge part in that too, the boom of social media and being able to access your customer base 24/7,
absolutely.
How do people not burn out?
Yeah, I agree. That is very true. It still fascinates me there are people you know, like we're buying stuff for the business, like reselling things and constantly dealing with all these companies that do like wholesale. It still fascinates me that they've not adapted like modern ways of doing things. Like none of them have like proper websites.
Yeah.
They all take forever. They only like want to deal on the phone. They send out invoices like 3 months after. I'm like, bitch, I want to pay right now. Like I don't want to owe you for 3 months.
Hi, I would please make checks payable to.
Yeah, I know. What is that? I've never held a check in my hand.
You haven't?
Well, I haven't.
You're such a baby.
But also, I grew up in Russia. Like they didn't even have like bank accounts until like 2010. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much technology change has happened in your lifetime. Like specifically for your lived experience.
Yeah, because like Russia is definitely like 10-20 years behind in most cases, and again, we're not talking about Moscow because it's a different country. But yeah, I feel like I'm an old millennial rather than like a young millennial, just because my childhood was that way. Like there was no phones, nobody had cell phones. We, you know, all these things that like now 40-year-olds are talking about, 50-year-olds are talking about. I'm like, yeah, that's my childhood too.
That's why we get along so well, because you're like a little you're like a millennial.
Listen, I am a millennial, but I'm a young millennial.
You're a very young one, and I'm an old one.
You're not an old one. You're like the juice,
I am.
The middle.
I think, when does millennial start? 19, if you were born in 19...
I believe it's like 80.
80?
Yeah.
And I was born in 87. I guess I'm like it's smack dab in the middle.
Let me Google it, because I'm guessing there's some people who'll be like, bitch, you're lying.
I feel like it must be 80. But then you would think
81
it would be like
to 96. Yeah.
81 to 96.
Yeah, so I'm 95. So just like on the edge of it.
But
because I grew up in Russia, I definitely don't feel like the edge of it at all.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Anyway.
I learned something new. Also.
I know. I'm so jealous. You got a new tattoo. How is it?
And I'm gonna, it's good. It looks so fake because it has the like new skin on it still.
Yeah,
like
it makes sense.
So it looks, and then I'm getting embroidery scissors next week.
Tattooed?
Yeah, right
like
here.
Like stork embroidery scissors?
Like decorative. My tattoo artist is designing them, so they're not going to be storks.
Okay, I would probably judge you if you did the storks.
Yeah. So it's just like she's designing like a ornate pair of scissors for me.
Sick.
We could get tattoos while I'm visiting.
Dude, if you wanna, I'm fucking down.
Something like a Milner needle.
Oh my god, imagine. Like, I feel strongly enough about, true, but I feel strongly enough about Milner's needles to actually get it on my body.
Or like a Nerge embroidery hoop.
I don't know, I feel like they would have to pay us for that.
Yeah, probably. We hijack Richard and we make him go with us. Get a tattoo.
Imagine. We'll make him have a tattoo. Oh, man.
Okay. Anyway, I digress.
So.
All right.
I want to firstly ask you about your experience with burnout, but mainly, like, not a dive deep just yet. But I want to ask if you could, like, off the top of your head, remember moments in your life when you felt like, ooh, burnout, or like nearing burnout, that kind of state in the last, like, 10 years, whatever.
I left teaching.
Okay.
That's my first experience.
Okay.
I taught elementary music, preschool through 5th grade, and I taught beginning band and beginning choir. And I thought I was going to be a lifer, and I thought that was and I always wanted to be a music teacher. Like, anyone who knew me as a kid knew that was what I wanted.
Right.
I think I decided in the 4th grade that I wanted to be a band director specifically.
Nice.
You know, a lot of teachers, especially in the United States anyway, were lifers. Like, you knew they taught from the time that they got out of school until they retired, and they were like around the school after they retired. And I come from a long line of school teachers. My grandmother was a one-room schoolhouse teacher. My uncle is a teacher. Two of my uncles are teachers. I have cousins that are like, it seemed very natural for me. And I remember driving one day to go to, have I told you about this story?
I don't know.
About the deer? Okay, so I was teaching in like rural Iowa, which is a fun word to say, rural.
I love that word.
I was teaching in Iowa and I was driving to work one day and I was pretty pregnant with my first. So I already knew I was going to take a year off. That was the plan,
Right.
just a year. I had to have been like 5 months pregnant. It was wintry outside and deer are all over the place that time of year.
Right.
And I remember seeing a deer on the side of the road and I thought to myself, I wouldn't mind if that deer ran in front of my car so I wouldn't have to go to work today.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then I got to work and I just continued thinking that thought. And I thought, I don't think I'm very healthy mentally right now. That's not a normal thought people have.
Yeah.
So,
Man. So that was
yeah.
that like your first time that you acknowledged it in that sense, like very kind of hit you?
Yeah, like I'm sure I experienced burnout a couple times before then, but that was like real bad. Like to a point where I thought, I'm glad I'm going to have a baby because I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Which in hindsight, having a baby is a lot of work and you don't sleep and but I was like, that's going to be better than what I'm doing now. And it wasn't because I like hated my job or like hated my coworkers or hated what I was doing. I just was going at it so hard for so long because it was like doing musicals and teaching lessons and organizing big concert shows on top of the normal hours of teaching and just getting like paid crap for it. And then I also worked a part-time job because I wasn't making enough as a full-time teacher.
That's freaking insane. Actually, you touched on two things because I wrote some notes down on like, definitions, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you said that you just worked a lot and you did all these different things and you were getting paid crap. So actually one of the things, like definitions / causes, where I read was saying that burnout like will happen when you put like all of your emotional and physical energy into something, but you're not getting it like a good enough reward for it to justify this. So it kind of makes sense there in a way.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sure part of it was that I was physically exhausted because I was growing a baby. Like I'm sure there's lots of components to it, And I was also working on a political campaign in my spare time too. I was doing a lot. So like it was just the perfect storm of like when in my free hours I was volunteering. If I wasn't working.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Why do you remember why you took that much upon yourself then?
Well, in Iowa, fun fact for anybody listening who is into like just how American politics work, Iowa used to, it's kind of not a thing anymore, but we used to have this thing called the Iowa caucus. And so Iowa was the first state to like cast votes on which presidential candidates in each party would go forward. It was like a prediction kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And we hadn't really ever done a lot in politics, but we were just curious about it. And so my husband was like, let's go volunteer. It wasn't supposed to be like a do it all the time thing. And then we just ended up just loving this old man from the East Coast. And so we just decided to do more. So that wasn't planned at all. But it was because, hey, we're living in this state where there's this cool, like, let's take part in American democracy. Like it was, when I look back on it, I have very fond memories. And because that took my brain, gave me a pause so that I could handle my job. Like it was kind of for fun,
like a distraction.
It gave me a chance to offload what I was doing during the day.
That makes sense. Fair enough.
When I look back, I'm like, why? That was a lot. I just didn't rest. I also feel like when you're a young person, you go hard 24/7. Like it's like, I'm going to do all of the things because I can. And it works for a really great amount of time. And then it all of a sudden doesn't. And then all of a sudden it just hits so hard. And I feel like I'm that kind of person. If I can fit as many things into a day as possible, I will do it because I just want to like experience all the things. And I do get a little bit of like FOMO. So that doesn't help either.
No, it doesn't. What about with like your business? Have you had any?
Yeah, so small business wise, I don't think I had burnout until probably when I went full time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I was making my normal artwork, my fabric collage, and then I was having a lot of anxiety around around COVID, as most people did. And so I started making fabric masks because we didn't know anything different. And so I was making fabric masks for the hospitals nearby because I couldn't sleep. And I was so worried about my kids dying and, you know, because like everything was just so scary in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is. So I was sewing masks for fun, I guess, just to like ease my mind. I was at the sewing machine like 24/7, and I was donating just hundreds of masks to the 2 local hospitals because I just couldn't function. And then a friend of mine was like, you really should be making these for profit. So I decided to pause my fabric collage and move to masks.
Right.
It was a great business choice, honestly. Like I made a stupid amount I made over 5,000 face masks in the course of like a by myself. Like no one else was really helping me with that. Like I did all of it. And at first it was kind of thrilling and exciting because I knew I was helping people and it felt like, you know, oh, I'm protecting people by making them something that is cute and functional. And I think like 1,000 masks in on my Etsy shop, I was like, I don't want to sew anymore. But I didn't really have a choice of like taking a break because it still felt like,
yeah, that's the money that's coming in to feed
that
you.
and like this deadly disease, it just continues to be a thing. And I have to protect people. I have to keep offering these masks. So yeah, first experience for my small business of burnout was probably like August or September of 2020.
Right.
And I think I just ignored it and I just kept going. But I remember feeling it. I remember feeling like dread over what I was doing. I remember feeling just completely drained. And then when the like Asian hate crimes started escalating in the United States, I really hit a breaking point. And that would have been like March of 2021. And I was really struggling. I got accosted at a local grocery store by a older white man. He yelled a bunch of slurs at me and said that I needed to go back to my country. It was really traumatic. I was by myself. And I was masked, and he was yelling at me because I was masked. Like it was very bizarre.
That's crazy. I can't imagine.
Yeah, and that was around the time that like I think it was like the peak of it, like I noticed the burnout, but I didn't do anything about it. And then it just kept going. And then March happened. That experience happened. I came home. I was like crying to my husband. My mother, who I had a relationship with at the time, lives in Hawaii. And so she was like, you should come visit Hawaii for break. I think it would be good for you. For anybody who's never been to Hawaii, I know you have been. It's like a melting pot of Asian cultures. Obviously, there is the indigenous people that live there, but it's also like a lot of Japanese, a lot of Korean. There's just like, it's a huge like melting pot of Asian cultures.
I love that about Hawaii.
Yeah, and so white is not the like dominant culture there. You like white people stick out a lot more than Asian people. We went to go visit. We were only supposed to go for like a week, and being around my siblings and my mom was like huge. It was just a really good time for my family, even though we were still like technically on lockdown, and the only way we could go is because my family lives there. That's why we were able to go, and we didn't do like touristy things. It was really just being able to spend time with my family. And then we ended up staying an additional week because I was like, wow, I am not doing well mentally, and like this is really helping me. Yeah, I was very open about it, and anybody who has been following me like on social media since then, I was really vocal about it in my stories, and I made posts about it like, wow, I think I'm experiencing burnout, and this is how I'm feeling, and these are all the things that are bothering me right now, and I'm Korean American, and these are the experiences I'm having, and I'm sorry I don't normally talk about this stuff, but I'm gonna start talking about it because I feel like I'm kind of going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really like, if anybody who follows me, I'm very vocal about my feelings about things. I talk about more than just business, like, and everybody chooses to share what they want to share on social media, but that's how I choose to navigate it. And that was when it started, was my like, I'm so
Oh,
burnt out.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool story because yeah, you definitely have a pretty unique take on social media.
Yeah. And it
I
was
dig it.
fascinating. There was so much around, like when I started talking about it, all of a sudden I made a lot more connections with other people who were like, wow, I'm experiencing burnout
Makes
too.
sense.
Or,
Makes total
yeah.
sense.
And it was like, I had people like, I'm Asian American too. And I'm also feeling those things too. So it was like
I bet that was helpful as well for you
yeah.
to
Yeah.
overcome it.
Just a little, and to
Connections.
just be validated and seen by other people and not feel like it's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it could feel so lonely because you're like, it is you who are experiencing it.
Yeah.
Nobody else around you, potentially nobody else around you is.
Well, and it's the
So,
same thing like imposter syndrome, which we talked about last time. People
yeah.
did not talk about it. So it just makes you feel like, oh, I don't have it, whatever it is. I don't have it. I'm not cut
Yeah.
out for this,
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree on that.
how about you? Do you remember your first experience with burnout?
I don't remember the specifics, to be honest, like the details, but it was, I think for me, it's like the kids' drops, which I love doing and won't
Yeah.
stop because
Right.
that's my livelihood.
Yeah.
But I think, so it was August, I think the year before, so 2022.
Yeah.
And I think I'd just finished the kids drop and I was trying to figure out like all these things that I was going to do next. And then it was just too many. Like I would, people would message me like, "Oh, can you do this commission or can you design the pattern for me? Can you like do this and that?" And I would just like, "Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can." When in reality, I was like, "Shit, I can't. I don't want to. I don't have the capacity to do it." But I can't say no. Somehow I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to be able to feel like tomorrow I'll feel better." I'll feel better tomorrow, so I'll get it. I'll do it. And then I just ended up like letting down a ton of people because I would like ignore them potentially or like, waste their time and then not do the thing, which, yeah, it's not great.
No, and
But
I
it's
feel
like
like
it was hard to recognize what I was
yeah.
doing.
Have you, in your experience, has it been that when that happens, it like just spirals you into like, when that happens where I feel like I'm letting people down and stuff, it ends up just making like I freeze. Like I can't
Oh,
seem to do
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Like you just
exactly.
get stuck.
Yeah, it's like your to-do list is getting larger, but you can't even cast an
Yeah.
eye on it because it's too
Yeah.
scary and like
So was this when you went full time?
it was before. It was a few months
Wow.
before.
I mean, so also no wonder you were working a whole other job on top of.
I was, yeah. And I was really like it was really piling up. I was really not feeling good about my day job because I started to hate it
Yeah.
and every day was so annoying. I mean, this probably was like the burnout that made me feel
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Lauren, Lady Lauren Stitching. She helped me. Like one night, I was just like, I looked up my to-do list and I was like, I don't want to do any of it ever.
Oh.
And yeah, I know. And then I was like, I can't even think straight. Like, what should I touch? Like, if I get a tiny bit of energy, like, what should I do? And like any task that I had on there just seemed either too big for me to handle at the time, or like not like what's the point of touching this pot? Where like if I touch one thing, I'm gonna need to do all the other things, right?
I
Get
know.
out. I have my door open because I'm on my own in the house, and so the cats are everywhere.
It's okay.
No,
Come here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Come here, kitty. Oh, look at. So cute.
Anyway, yes, she's adorable. She was here the whole time underneath me. She ran out like just 2 minutes ago, so she was
Aw.
sleeping. I was hoping she'd sleep through the whole thing, but
Yeah.
alas.
So cute.
Yeah, anyway, I was saying that I was talking to Lauren and she spent like half the day just talking to me.
Yeah.
We were texting because I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna organize my shit. Like, I'm gonna organize my to-do list. I'm gonna throw away some tasks. I'm gonna like write my priorities
Yeah.
down, all the things. But I couldn't even do that. So I started talking to Lauren, just like organically. It happened probably about something else, or she asked me how I was doing, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll tell you. and and we started talking, and probably like spent 6 hours texting, just like back and forth. And she was helping me. She was giving me all these different tips, and it made me feel so much better. Like I feel like the next day I wrote everything down that I was planning on writing the night before. It ended up being like, time wasted. I didn't get anything done from my to-do list, but I got my head in order in some way talking to her. So I'm still very, very grateful to Lauren. Lauren, if you're listening, thank
Lauren,
you.
we love you. Also, shout out to Lauren because her work is so beautiful.
Stop it. She's going to be my shout out.
I mean, let's not talk about her right now.
I know. Why are you giving me her shout out a little bit early?
That's a good one.
So that was probably like my first time where I was like, I just don't know what to do. Like nothing seems like it's happening or like it's too much. But again, like this is my own fault. Like why do I decide to take up on myself all these different tasks? I don't fucking know. It's kind of happening right now for me after the kids drop. This was like by far the biggest drop that I've just had. And it was very stressful because there was a few things that went wrong.
Out of your control.
I had to deal. Yeah, exactly. But I am taking a trip to Spain for a few days next week, which I'm hoping that's going to help me because I'm not taking even my iPad with me or anything. So I'm hoping that I'll get some rest, like mental rest. Because like the issue for me is that I work from home and I love my job. I freaking love doing all these little things that entail running this business. But this means that when I'm home, I want to work.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I want to, I'm itching because like my work is my hobby,
Yeah, same.
So
I don't know how people do it. Besides us, I'm curious if anybody is listening, if you also like do for your job like the thing you do for fun. How do you balance that? Because I don't know. I genuinely don't know how people do that. I have children, so I have to take breaks and like feed them and play with them and read to them, and like that helps, honestly. Like having that I have to stop.
Do other things. Oh,
versus
I love
like
that.
Yeah, but I could see how it would be even harder if you don't have like other humans to take care of. Like you have your cats and you have your partner, but I'm sure it's even harder then to like identify, ooh, I need to stop working and I need to go.
I know, yeah, never. Like I never want to stop working. That's the thing. But
you
like,
have to.
There's
like,
no
it's
balance. I don't know.
Yeah. I made myself kind of a schedule, so I try to stick to it, but it's not always easy. Like I try and start my day at like 9 a.m. because I drop my kids off and everything in the morning. And then I try to work until 2 because then I go to the school and I help direct traffic in the parking lot.
Nice.
Because I'm that mom. And then when my kids go to bed at like 7:30, I try and do a couple more hours of stitching after 8 p.m.
Yeah, I love that you have a schedule.
Yeah, but that doesn't leave very much time for like spending quality time with my spouse. So I have
What about weekends?
Well, in weekends I try not to work, which is hard for me. I mean, obviously, we're still fucking working. We're still on social media. We're still responding to emails. But I try not to, like, do the active stitching or, like, I'll package orders. But I try not to do too much, like, where I have to be by myself kind of work.
I try to have weekends off as well. It helps when, like, I don't make any plans because I'd rather just work.
Yeah.
So when the plans are made for me, then I'm happy because I'm literally like, okay, what are we doing this weekend? And there's like, okay, there's a football game at this time on this day. Okay, there's a dinner, there's a birthday party, there's that and that. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to get any work done. Like, it's like sad face. But it's good. It's good. But unfortunately, like the last month and a half, I've not had many, apart from last weekend. Actually, it was pretty busy because I've just had to say no, we're not making any plans for the weekends because I have to work.
Because you had,
time crunches are the worst. But yeah, I'm feeling it pretty fucking hard. It's really tough, especially like my office was such a fucking mess.
Oh my gosh!
Like literally on Friday when I posted all the kits, Like the postman brought the van.
Yeah, that
loaded up the
huge
van.
truck. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. But yeah, literally as soon as that was done, I closed the door to the office and I was like, that's it.
Just
I
gonna
need to
leave that
separate.
there.
Yeah, I literally like I fell asleep a few hours after on my couch because I was awake for like 30 hours, something
Yeah,
like
you're
that
like
at
so
that point.
exhausted.
I was
Ugh.
so tired. I slept for 12 hours and then I slept for another 12 hours the next night
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't go into the office, only like to pick up some things. But it was
Yeah.
not it was like a shit tip as well. So until I
Yeah.
tidied it up, I feel good in here now, but last week was fucking rough. Anyway,
I think the problem that we have about like going so hard, especially if it's associated with a drop, because I also experience burnout after like big drops, which is the selling style we both lean towards, which is where, you know, you announce a certain date that you're going to have products available, and then there's a certain date usually where things are fulfilled, right? Like, especially if it's a pre-order of some kind.
Yeah, pre-order. Mm-hmm.
And that part is fine. It's the getting from the orders people place to getting them in the mail that is the most stressful experience, because oftentimes it's out of our hands. If a product gets stuck in the mail that we need to put in the kits, or if like there's any kind of delay in manufacturing of the products that go into it. And then it's also just the physical labor of getting all of the stuff together. That's not really like active stitching. Like that's not artistic really.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
just like
it could be.
it could be
but
like
yeah,
in a way, I guess. But
yeah, but it depends like on the I want to say like volume of that work.
yeah,
Because some like if it's a ton, like it was for me, like I spent probably full 7 days just winding these bobbins. I just sat for like 13, 14-hour shifts like at my desk just winding the bobbins, doing the same thing all day, no breaks, nothing. I mean, why the fuck did I decide to do that? I don't know. But also I want to say like I'm complaining, I'm burnt out, it's fucking tough, but this is the way that it works. And you know, because people message me all the time and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so stressed, you're so tired. Like, I don't want you not buying the kit if you're gonna think that this is gonna put me in a like vulnerable situation with my health, because I choose to do this. And the kits, these drops, like these very like saturated amounts of like stress and work, you know, at certain times for the drops is what pays my bills. Like I can't not do it.
right.
But also I love doing it. Like it's
Right.
an exciting event,
It's
even though it is
thrilling.
tiring and stressful as fuck.
I think a huge reason why we're going to continue experiencing it, and also we're allowed to complain about the stuff that's hard. We're not saying that we're not grateful. We're not saying that we like, because we put it on ourselves most of the time when it happens. It's not because of anybody else's expectations. It's because our expectations of ourselves are crazy high.
Yeah.
But it really is because it's the easiest way, at least I think for both of us, to just do some where it's all compiled in a short amount of time. It's super stressful for that like 2-3 weeks that we're actively doing that. But the payoff is so good to do it that way that we're going to continue doing it.
Yeah, because you know, I started doing drops. So this was my 7th, something like that. So I do them like every 4 months, like 3 times a year only.
Yeah.
And I started at the beginning of 2022. So I had my full-time job all year.
Yeah.
And so this was the only way for me to really do it, because I wanted to make, like, people kept asking for kits and whatever. But afterwards, I thought, like, I'm going to go full time and I'll be able to, you know, like, make kits and then just have them on sale. Like, whenever people want to buy them, I'll probably have them, you know. But I very quickly understood that, one, it wasn't a very smart business decision, because drops are big events, and like it introduces, like, you know, on marketing level of things, like introduces scarcity, which is a really good like selling strategy, I guess. But also it is a lot of like upfront investment that you don't necessarily like, you can't really I can't really afford a lot of stock, because, you know, yes, my kids are expensive, but like my profit margins are not actually that high. Like,
Right.
they cost me a lot of money to make.
Well,
per
and
kid.
we all know Vika does not pay herself for all of the man hours of actually compiling things. And if you did actually pay yourself, there would be no profit. You know, like if you treated yourself as an employee, that's where all the money would go. Same.
That's kind of why I don't want to hire anybody, because people are like, oh, you need help. And I'm like, yeah, I need help, but it costs money.
It costs money.
I'll do it for free.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also like, I would want to pay someone like a decent wage,
but
I can't do that.
Yeah, then it'll eat away all the profit. Where like, we call it profit because that's what it looks like on paper, but it's actually just pay for work. For labor.
Yeah, because we're not paying ourselves. And I think the other part also, to like continue on with what you were saying, it also is so much storage that you have to have in order to just like have it year round.
Agreed. My office is like 3x3, if that, meters.
Yeah. So like if you do a drop and people prepay, especially if it's a pre-order and people prepay for it, then you have the funds to be able to pay for the things. It gives you, yes, everything is at your house for like a couple weeks. It's just a madhouse of just a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But then it all is gone eventually.
Yeah. And it feels
like,
good.
Yeah. I mean, we saw when we did our collab kit, my entire office was just boxes full of stuff. And it looks crazy and it kind of makes you crazy. But I bet, and also the other part of it is like, because of the scarcity, like marketing strategy of doing a drop, it also is very like reaffirming that what you're doing is like what you're meant to do. When you see, like, obviously we don't make art necessarily for the money, like we enjoy the artistic part, but we would be lying if we didn't say that's a huge part of it, because like we have to make a living.
Yeah, I mean, if you whenever you decide that that's what you want to do for money, like for a job, then of course, like your priority is to make money, and the rest is is the hobby part. The joy that you get from it is awesome. But the first thing, obviously, you gotta. So yeah, it was clearly just a business decision to do the drops, and they do make sense. Like the drop culture has become incredibly popular with all the brands, pretty much, especially like clothing industry, outfits.
Yeah, even high end stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's. I would say, like, yeah, fair enough, we're spoiled with quick shipping, Amazon and all the stuff. But generally, like, I don't mind waiting for handmade something, like you totally understand. So I love that our community is, like, most people wait like a month for my kid to be shipped from the time that they purchased it. Which is a long time, because it'll take another like week or two for it to arrive. It's a long time. Time, but nobody's ever complained about it. So like that's given me like positive energy that it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the benefits outweigh the awful parts, or we wouldn't continue to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Anyway, we kind of digressed from the burnout a little bit. There was one thing.
No, I think all of that goes into burnout.
Well, I guess it does. Yeah, I mean, this is like literally what happened to me, but I wanna, because I wrote some things down like I usually do.
Yeah.
And there's causes that I read on. It was something to do with like having to deal with stress that you don't have control over, and not just like, because stress is good, like stress can be very positive, but things that stress you out of your control continuously. So if you're like in the state of constant troubleshooting and constant fixing things and constant making all these decisions to, make a thing happen, that's what is potentially gonna cause burnout, because that's not a very natural and good state for your body and for your brain to be dealing with these things that are out of control. Because I had not so many, but some things go quite wrong. Like this time it was crazy. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it because it's annoying. But the thing that I read was burnout is also known as 21st century health epidemic. And I can totally relate. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I also think it's important to note that we are both pretty able-bodied humans who don't suffer from any like other ailments also. Like I would say we're both pretty healthy people. And I think people who have disabilities or have any kind of like mental health condition, like a diagnosed mental health condition, I feel like a lot of people, anyone, finds their way to art, right? I think there's a lot of people in our community who have diagnosed disabilities and mental health diagnoses. And art and embroidery have been like wonderful ways for them to express themselves, and like it's a form of therapy for them, as it is for all of us. But I think burnout happens even more for them because of the fact that their capacity is already so much lower because they physically or mentally cannot handle. And I think I think it's made worse by the fact that like COVID was the thing and the cost of living is high. Like all of these things get compounded that aren't healthy stress for anybody. You know, like we all have a baseline. Like you said, stress can be good, but I experience burnout, I don't know, like 1 to 2 times a year. And I've at this point in time, I feel like that's a healthy amount of burnout.
Oh my gosh.
But I do know other creators who have a lot of like physical ailments, have a lot of digestive issues and things where like physically they can work stitch. They might be able to do that just fine, but they experience burnout on like a whole nother level because like their bodies physically just cannot, they just don't have the same capacity. And so it's hard for me to ever complain about the burnout that I have because I have friends and, you know, like people in our community that experience burnout on such like a catastrophic level pretty regularly that I'm like, mine's not that bad. But then I have to step back and be like, oh, actually, I should still talk about it. And I should still probably acknowledge that I'm experiencing it because I'm also human. And
yeah, but also I don't know that. Firstly, like comparison is never your friend, Hannah.
Yeah.
But also, you literally just said that they have a different amount of capacity to handle stress or physical workload and all the things. So, like, if you're experiencing burnout, it's not because, oh, you did 20%. You know what I mean? You did 120%. That's why you're experiencing. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been experiencing it. So don't be freaking silly.
But I just want to mention, you know, like where we are coming into this conversation might be at a different level than other people. And I just wanted to recognize, you know, that
many different variables that could be causing personal thing. Like there's so many different variables that could be causing. And I mean, I think it's a good thing to get educated on that. So I would advise people to read up on it at least, because it's really easy to miss the signs of a burnout and then it's going to be too late. You know, like you're just going to be so exhausted mentally and physically and on all emotional levels that it will be very, like, you'll have to stop pretty much like all activity for you to like regain your strength and things like that, where like you could potentially, like, if you recognize it, I feel like you could like stop it, you know, just like lifestyle management. Okay, I'm getting a little bit burnt out by this, so I'm gonna like limit some of the activity and things like that.
I mean, we talked about it in a previous episode that we both know people who just completely stopped.
Exactly.
They had to because they didn't mitigate. So what are your strategies for helping you like manage it?
Well, because I've experienced it a couple of times now, I feel like I knew where this was fucking going 3 weeks ago, you know, like I knew, but I unfortunately didn't have the luxury to, or didn't have the guts, I guess, to manage it, because I, like, the amount of work that I had to do, I knew that it was nearly impossible for me to, you know, have a good sleep and some kind of balance and that stuff. But I decided, like, I made a decision to just power through it and see what happens, and at the end I would just like take a little break and get myself in order. So this was my strategy this time around. But because like I know, I feel like the awareness of it, like if you think that, oh, this is gonna happen, this is where you have to make the decision. Because I could have said, okay, listen y'all, like I know I have your money in my bank account, you don't have your kids that you paid for. I will not be sending them at the time that I promised. Please forgive me. Like, I'll need another week so that I don't fucking die. You know?
Yeah.
Not that's exaggerated, by the way, by a mile. But like, I could have chosen that route and just said, hey, like, this is a little bit too much and it is my fault. But, you know, you're waiting a month. Probably not going to make any difference if you wait another week on top of that. Like, you know, kindly ask people to wait. I could have done that, but I decided not to because the pressure that I'd put on myself, like mentally, like, Hannah, I'm not kidding. Like every single time, the 2-week period of the fulfillment period where I've stopped taking orders and all I have to do is just put them together. The moment that I start investing that money that I got from the sales into stock, it is so stressful because I have this generalized anxiety disorder. Like every night I go to sleep and I'm like, if there's gonna be fire,
I know.
all these things are gonna go to waste. Like, you know, all this money, like I have all this money that I'm holding on to that I owe people product for. But what, you know, if shit happens, then what the hell am I gonna do? You know, hopefully that's never gonna happen. But like these are the worries that I'm having.
Of course, yeah.
So it is stressful in that sense, like for the drops. Anyway, yeah. So the strategy for me is to like be aware, basically, and then
I do think that's
action,
a huge part.
Yeah, because it is easy. It's easy to miss the signs, especially if it's gonna be your first time experiencing a burnout.
Absolutely.
And what about you? Tell me.
I take social media breaks.
Okay.
Try and go somewhere, and I try and touch grass, aka I try to go outside, which has been huge. I mean, honestly, it's been such a help for where I live. Like I can go hiking pretty much year round, and for me, regulation is just like not having my phone on me, or you know, like obviously I take my phone with in case something happens to me on a hike, but yeah, I try and take breaks. And then I also try and schedule like intentional things with people where I will not be able to work. So I make myself schedule things. And then like when I'm actually experiencing, like if it's a drop, like what you were saying, I used to do 2 drops a month of like my own artwork. And I would make 15 to 30 pieces for every single drop.
Which is fucking nuts.
Which gave me burnout. So now every few months I still do 2. Like I had planned to do 2 this month, but again, I was like, it's not happening. So I've reduced by half. Like I do pretty much 1 drop a month now. I still make about the same amount of money from my drops because I'm still creating the entire time. I'm just not posting them online. So, you know, I don't have 2 paychecks coming in every month. It's just one bigger one. And I've noticed that works better for me. Talking about it has been super helpful. And I used to wind bobbins for all of my kits. Now I just give them the full thing.
The luxury.
Yeah. You know, like there's certain things like that also help. I try and be
like
a little bit...
you start making decisions, to prevent.
I try and simplify some of the things that I do.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I love all of these. Totally can relate to. I mean, in the last 4 weeks, I've posted 3 pieces of content, which that even when I just started, that was not how I did it. I've still done more. Yeah, that's crazy. Like I don't know how I even survived it. Baby boy, you're not jumping.
Is that Riot?
No. It's Timosha. He wants to jump up the table, but I have the table that goes up and down with a button. So it's pretty high right now, so that I could put like my chair under it, so that I have a little bit more space, and like more space in my office gives me a little better mental state. So I wanted to feel good for this podcast recording because it is 1 week late thanks to my burnout. So
it happens. I mean, also we're humans, and we're like, this is a for fun podcast, so it's not supposed to. This is like a hobby. So we apologize. We want to be reliable for you, and we're so excited that you want to listen and that you noticed that we didn't share one last week. But also, I think part of the reason why you follow us is because we are real people and we talk about real things, and that includes pushing things back a week.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna be mad at it.
Yeah.
If anything, you know, it's just a podcast.
Yeah. I think the people who listen are our kind of people, and they're pretty understanding.
For sure.
But yeah, share with us if you've experienced burnout, if you have found like things that have helped you. We're really curious about your strategies, because maybe you know something that we don't, and it might be helpful for us the next time we have a drop. So share. Yeah,
definitely leave a comment to the episode on either YouTube or Spotify. I don't think you can leave comments on Apple Podcasts. Or it would be awesome to hear from you guys. Yeah, again, like very limited experiences. Everybody, it is an individual thing. So like the more we educate ourselves about this based off of other people's experiences, like the more we'll be aware if we're like starting to experience something similar. So yeah, cool.
Should we move on to our segments?
Let's do it. I was just gonna say, damn it, you're gonna have to lead because I don't have the note on me. Do you remember the segments that we want to do?
Well, the first one would be relatable or not.
Oh, that's right. Let me get my relatable or not list. Do you want to go first? Do you have one?
Yes, but mine is embarrassing. Okay, there is a TikTok trend. So if you're not on TikTok, this might not be something you understand. I don't really think it's moved over to Instagram, but there is this audio clip of a guy, the original creator of it. It goes like this: go to the store, buy a bottle of hoisin sauce, and go home, and then he's like, go to the store again, buy a bottle of hoisin sauce. Oh no, I already have a bottle of hoisin sauce. And so he keeps, and he's just showing you each additional bottle that he has of hoisin sauce, and he ends up having like 20 at the end of the video. So people have adapted this audio to be about other things.
Right, I love it. I haven't seen it.
Oh no, you haven't? It's really funny. I'll share it on our social media so people can see what I'm talking about when we release this. I think that I don't have specific things when I'm stitching, so I just keep buying them. Sometimes is a good thing, but sometimes it's like I'll never go through enough. Inevitably, it's always something. I feel like as a small business, I'm always like, oh, I'm running low on that, so I'm gonna buy more. So I bought beads. Okay. I thought I was out of beads for this specific kind of bead.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't read.
Are you out of beads?
Yeah, and I didn't
highly doubtable.
I didn't read the listing well enough. And I can take my headphones off and go so I can show you. I needed silk satin beads, which are the beads that a lot of people always comment on. They look like this. They're like, you can see them, but if you move them in the light, like they kind of disappear. These guys, they're super shiny. I was like, I'm really low. I'm gonna buy 5 grams of this bead. Okay. I accidentally bought 5 packages of beads, and each package is 5 grams of beads. So I essentially bought 5 times the amount of beads that I wanted. But then I forgot that I ordered them. So I did it again.
Oh my God.
So now
what? How did you forget you ordered them?
I don't know, because it was like between the time that I had ordered them initially and like when the first shipment arrived, and like I don't know if they had like a delay in shipping or something, and so then now I have so many of them. So now you're gonna start seeing them in my projects a lot more because I ordered too many.
You have like 25 grams.
So relatable
50
or
grams.
not, do you accidentally purchase supplies that you think you're out of, but then you just keep buying them and then I'm probably going to forget again, or I'll think like, oh, I didn't buy that specific one, and I'll try and order them. And it's like, no, you already ordered 20 grams of whatever. And a gram for beads is like, it's a
ton.
It's a lot. Like this is a 10-gram container of really small beads. Okay. And I essentially ordered I think by the
10.
time I got done, because I did this a couple times, I think I have like 100 grams of this one kind of bead now.
That's crazy.
It's like a lifetime's worth of beads. I won't ever go through. I'm going to have to make a kit just to use them.
Get rid of them, yeah. That would be a smart thing to do. Wow, yeah. To be honest, I don't know that I can relate to that, but I am a forgetful person as of recently because there's too many things. I forget to order things. So I'll think that I'd ordered them, but I didn't order. Oh, no. So I'm like, where is it? Where is it? And then I never ordered it. I thought I'd ordered, but I never ordered.
Oh, that's the worst feeling. I would rather over order.
It is bad. I know. Me too. So yours is better than mine.
It's an obscene amount of beads. Like I did it with flower beads. Oh, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you.
Go on.
I thought that I bought 1 strand of these beads. Okay, they're flower beads. I accidentally bought what I thought was 1 strand. It was not 1 strand. It was 10 strands. So now
oh my God.
Like it's so big. And then same thing, same thing. I thought, so see how many I bought? So many. And then
that is crazy.
These are the silk satin beads. I have 6 separate bags of
Okay, I have a question for you, Hannah.
Yeah.
What was going on through your mind when you were like, oh, I'm going to buy 5 grams of it. It's going to cost me $70.
Because I was tired. I clearly was ordering at like 11 o'clock at night, and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. You would think I would like look at the price and be like, wow, that's a lot for those. Nope.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
Okay, that's fair.
Which I I have done this several times, and there are times where I'm like, I realize it and I cancel the order, you know, like, and thankfully the people that I order beads from know me now, and so one of them will actually send me a message, be like, did you mean to order 2 times what you normally order? And I'm like, no. Thank you. I do the same thing with fabric sometimes too. I need to pay attention.
Oh, bless.
So that's my relatable or not.
Yeah, fair enough. So mine will be the opposite of yours, I guess, because I can't be bothered to look. I'm so sorry.
Just forget to order.
I have a list, but I just forget to order things. It happened when I was packaging all the stuff, because there's different types of packaging that I would need for different bundles and all the stuff. Yeah. And I ended up like being short of 3 thingy envelopes for the Sal bundles, because they're big. I don't have any. It's just like that one
it's a
type
weird size.
of packaging that fits.
Yeah.
I had to think smart to try and like packaging them up. But I thought I'd ordered, because I was like, where is it? Like there's no box, nowhere. And then I go into my orders and it's not there.
It's not there.
Dang. It's not even in my basket. Like I never even went that far. Like, so stupid.
All right, next segment. We're doing DMC colors and their personalities.
Okay.
My DMC color is DMC 500. It is like the perfect moody dark green, like
real
like
dark green.
Real dark.
Love it.
Love it. This is like, I call this my Twilight movies color.
Oh, like for the trees?
The trees, like the Pacific Northwest, the moody. That's what I equate 500 to.
Okay, I don't agree. 501 would be the one. Oh, because
of course you would say 501.
No, but hear me out. Because, you know, the first Twilight movie, which is like everybody thinks of that movie when you think about Twilight. Yeah. Has like the most insane blue fucking filter and color grading.
That is true. Okay. Okay, you're right.
So everything is a little bit bluer.
Well, fine.
And
yours
501 is a little bit...
501 is based on the movies. This is based on the books. How about that?
Deal. Okay, that's fine.
But it's, for me, it's one of my comfort colors, and I go to it pretty often. And
I love 500.
There are certain colors when you stitch with it, like it's too bright, and it like, I get annoyed using it for a lot of time. And this color, I never.
For sure.
I could probably do an entire piece in just this color, and I would be really happy.
I agree. I mean, if you take like 30 of my patterns that I've done, like probably 25 of them will have 500 in there.
Yep, my patterns all have it. I love it.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm big on like color theory and like applying that in art, but like the contrast, that's the biggest thing for like a good looking, striking piece of art.
And this is a good dark color.
It is a really good dark color, because it's not black, it's not overpowering dark. It's like a little bit muted. Love that. 500.
What's yours?
Well, I forgot to think of one, but I'm going to choose 319.
I knew
because it is a better green than yours.
We're not friends anymore. I'm leaving.
Okay, hear me out. 319 is a little bit brighter than 500. It has like a tiny little bit more like shine, like a little bit more, that's green. Like it's a little bit greener. Okay, that's what it is. But also it's very dark. It's also very dark, but it's like saturated dark. So, I mean, both have a place in my heart. And because I forgot to think of the color, this is the first thing that came into mind, because 319 and 500 is like pretty freaking similar.
Yeah, so. They are very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. I love both.
They're good colors. I agree. They're both good. Fine.
Yeah. I love green.
And you throw 501 in there too. Might as well.
Okay. Like so 500, 501, 502, 503.
Yeah.
504 and 3813. That used to be 504. It's kind of fucked up. When we do like an episode on Just Thread.
We'll talk all about it. I
have so many things to bring up.
Nobody knows. This is one of Vika's hyperfixations.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
Just like metallic thread is mine. Yours is DMC floss.
We'll have to give you a few minutes to talk about the metallics, and I'm just gonna like put my headset down and like go for a drink.
Off.
Like not relatable whatsoever.
So now let's move on to artists we love and highlight some folks. And I kind of ruined yours a little bit, but can you go ahead and share yours?
Okay. Of course. So my shout out is Lady Lauren Stitching. Lauren is a friend and she's incredible, but also she has the most unique embroidery style. ever. She embroiders photographs and pretty much any kind of card thing, but mostly photographs. And she is incredibly big on shiny thread, like all kinds of diamonds.
We bonded.
And, you know,
yes.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. I mean, she's been doing this for a long time, and it's not her full-time job. She's actually, I believe she's a financial analyst. Lauren, I'm really sorry.
She wears all sorts of hats. No, I think you're right.
Okay, fair. But like her favorite thing is Sheets, like Google Sheets, Excel stuff. She helps me out sometimes when I need.
She's an organized baddie, that's for sure.
She's like the math person.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've
Lauren
never had a chance to talk
shout
to
out.
Lauren, you should reach out to her and say hi. She's probably one of the friendliest people too.
Yeah, she's absolutely lovely.
And
she does, like, she offers custom kits sometimes for photographs, and she designs these really cool, like, geometrical, makes sense for geometrical stuff.
It does.
The math
very calculated.
person designs this. Yeah. But they're like super amazing geometrical, like, shapes for photographs and like all these patterns.
Yeah.
It's sick. Just check her out.
Check her out.
We'll put a thing on the screen, but also I will this time add the shout outs into the show notes. I'm sorry I didn't do it last time. I'll edit it.
We did add
Yes,
them
I'm
into
sorry.
our stories though, and we'll do that again.
Cool. Who is your shout out?
Mine is 6_eyes_stitches. 6 eyes stitches. And she calls herself that because sometimes she stacks her glasses on top of them. So that's got like 2 pairs of glasses. And her old logo used to have that. Her name's Deanna.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
She's always made really beautiful artwork. We've been friends online for a bit. I own one of her pieces.
Amazing. I've never talked to her, but
she has a lot of artwork where it's like, these are all bullion knots, by the way, which, like, anybody who does stitching, bullion knots are next level. But she
totally.
I can always tell when a piece is hers, which is like something I really just enjoy about artists when, like, they've kind of come into their own. But she recently has started making these like spotlight pieces that I just love so much. And it's very unique and special, I feel like. She dabbles a little bit in other art forms too. Like, she's done some fabric collage pieces that are pretty neat. But it's like where it looks like there's a light on. And so, like, everything outside of the spotlight of where the light is falling is muted or like doesn't have anything. And then where the light is shining is like really vivid. And I just think it's super playful and fun.
It is. That's what I would say, like, very playful and fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
And it's just something unique and special that, like, is it's like, I think it's a signature of her work now. And she still has a pretty small account, and I would love more eyes on her work because
I think I've followed her for a long time, but
she's been
never
around.
Spoken.
And I think we became friends online pretty early on into me having social media. So, and she's just really sweet.
Oh, that's a good shout out.
Yeah. And again, it's 6_eyes_stitches to find her.
I'll put it in the show notes and in the comments.
Go check her out.
Sounds good. Thank you for the shout out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do we have any other segments? Did I remember them all?
I feel like we do. Oh, I know the controversial one.
Oh, controversial.
Controversial.
I forgot to prep something. Or trends that we see. That was the other one.
Oh, that's right. Should we do the trends first?
Yeah. My trend is using bulky yarn or some kind of fiber to stitch into sweaters, like wool sweaters and stuff. That's a new thing. It's really big.
Like, DMC is trying to make it like bigger than what it is. They started the year with all these new, like, little kits and new, like, even because they released we're talking about thread, we can't stop, wool thread.
Yes,
they released this whole new eco wool
line.
something. And then they introduced all these, like, free patterns and tutorials for the yarn for sweaters and stuff. I kind of dig it.
I dig it. I think it's awesome. It's also like a really cool crossover because I feel like knitters and crocheters, like fiber, like the fiber world is gelling with like a lot more of like the embroidery specific world. And I feel like they're kind of merging because I see fiber artists from all different backgrounds doing it. And it's it's cool. And it's also kind of a fun way to play with like basic embroidery stitches because it's like a bulkier thread. people are
Yeah,
using
because
like,
you can't necessarily embroider like on knits. So it makes sense.
So using the holes, I find it really refreshing. I know some people who do it and they have gotten a little bit of backlash from like general population. If they like, I have a friend who did it with like a baby's name to make for a kiddo, or like a birthday or something. And people are like, now everybody knows your kid's name. It's like, just relax. It's fine. Let people just be happy. But I love it. It's a trend I adore. I don't know how long lived it will be. Like, I don't know if it's just going to be like a fad and it goes away, but
maybe like a winter thing. Who knows?
But I think it's so refreshing and fun. And I also think it makes embroidery / fiber art super accessible because it's an easy task, but there's like a quick payoff for it. Like it's not like a long project and it's functional. I love it.
Yeah, the trend that I want to bring up is very similar. It's accessible, but also really fun. So I'm sure you've seen it. Like, I'll show you the picture here because I only have a screenshot of it. But basically, it's an IKEA clock.
Yes!
Like a specific IKEA clock with holes for numbers. Yes. And people were like taking the cover for the clock apart and just stitching the numbers with all the like rainbow colors and stuff, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's like multiple people doing this. It's called IKEA hack, basically. Super fun little thing that you can do. Just grab like what is it, like $5 for that clock, like made out of plastic, and just some thread and make it, because it's white, like it's very bland, the clock. Add a little pop of colors.
Quick, simple project. Really cool.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Look at us go.
Let's do the controversial. Unless you don't want to do the controversial today, should we not?
No, we can do controversial. I just have to try and think of something because I didn't plan for that one. Whoops, I forgot.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't plan for my things, but anyway. Okay, so I'll start. My controversial is that printing on fabric at home is a bad idea. So like the trend.
I do it.
That's also a trend. Yeah, you do it. Okay. Well,
for one of my kits, I do it.
Okay, but you print it at home, right? Like you use your laser printer, like you stick the sticker paper on the back, run through it. Okay, what kind of fabric are you using is my question.
Like 100% like Kona cotton. It's like a white,
Okay.
Or like an off-white.
Are you not afraid of people like stretching it out and like losing the shape of the design?
No, but to be fair, it is like the most simplest pattern. So it's literally just a line here, a line here, a line, so it's just the outlines.
This is not a problem to me. But I see people printing like all these intricate things where like,
lots of like
there's
lines
even like a
and
circle.
Things.
And like there's a perfect circle that gets printed. But then you put in the hoop and then you want some tension in the hoop. Like that circle is going to turn into a bejiggle.
Wonky. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's not a good idea to do it, but also it is permanent in that sense. I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea to do it at home.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
But because like, regular printers can't really handle anything thicker than Kona, really, because you're putting a sticker back on it,
right?
Like, because I get my my kit fabrics printed.
You send it.
Sal's. Yeah, but I mean, firstly, I get it printed professionally, but secondly, it's really thick as fabric.
It is.
So
yeah,
and it doesn't actually get stretched out that much. So
yeah, I use it's a pretty tightly woven fabric, the one that I use. I think it's Kona. It might not be. It might be like a muslin or something, but I haven't experienced anything, but it's also like a very simple design and it's meant to be stitched over so that you don't see the lines at all.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it makes sense.
I could see though how like
fair.
Could get kind of dangerous. Like just not reliable.
No, it's just like stuff that I see is like, bad idea. Like, okay, let's say it depends on the design. Let's say it that way. It depends on the design. And then they stitch, and then I see the progress, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do about these lines? What are you going to do about this circle being in that circle anymore? Like, think ahead.
Yeah, I do.
Anyway.
However, I do plan on moving away from having it printed on the fabric to having it be on like the sticky solvay and just have them stick that on. So I do have plans.
Why don't you print professionally?
Because we don't really have unless you are printing like a huge amount.
I can get you some.
You know what?
I can recommend you a few places.
Announcement time, everybody. when I come visit you in August,
Oh my God.
I can, how about I'll have something
Way
printed.
to drop that.
And I will bring it home with me from your place in my suitcase because.
No, but I know of one place and they're on the East Coast.
Oh.
Yes, and they're better than the place that I'm using here.
Okay, well, you're going to have to share some details with me. Okay,
I will.
I do have a controversial.
Go on.
It might make people mad.
Go on. I have to go. Be quick.
Okay. So my controversial take is if you are still having a small business and it's just you, I know product design stuff is really fun, but I think handwritten notes are really wonderful and you should still be putting some kind of handwritten note in your orders. I think it makes a huge difference.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Because I don't want people to think like, not saying you have to, and I understand like saving time, but I think handwritten notes and stuff makes a huge difference. Like I notice the impact when I buy something and someone has written something to me.
Same. 100%. And whenever I buy from small businesses and like there's nothing in there, not even a printed thank you card or anything at all, God. I'm like, I'm missing like it doesn't piss me off, but like it disappoints me in a way. Like I'm missing the personal touch.
Yeah.
You know, I want to support you. Like me buying your thing, you know, like I'm excited. Yeah. Like it's not just a transaction for me. Like I want to support you. But then you just throw the stuff in and send it to me and like there's nothing in there.
Yeah. Like you don't really care.
It's just a transaction for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, saying that, I had to actually for this dropped print.
Like every once, I mean, I still have some printed cards.
I put a name on there,
but I still try to do. So. Yeah, I still try to do at least something, just a little bit. Like I've gotten a couple orders from other people, and there's like nothing in it. Like no thank you, nothing. It's just like whatever I ordered, and I'm like, what? Okay.
I know. Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree.
Right.
I guess we don't have time to talk about all the comments. I pulled some comments from previous episodes, but we'll save it for next one.
You gotta go.
But yeah, I have to go. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I overbooked myself.
Good for you.
To what? Yeah.
Go have fun.
Just, I'm having fun. Yeah, I'm having fun. Football game. Super excited. The soccer game. Because football game would be Americans. Really, really freaking boring. Yeah, for Americans. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much for getting unstitched with us. We really appreciate you waiting an extra week for this episode. We will keep it up from now on. And yeah, whenever you're feeling stressed out and it's going to get to a burnout type feeling, please take care of yourself.
Yes.
Just rest. Rest is just as important. You saw that they say, like in sports, recovery is more important than building muscle.
Yes. So. Rest is productive.
Exactly.
Please follow us on social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and all streaming platforms for listening. And if you want to watch as well, you can watch us on YouTube or on Spotify. And please comment and follow and subscribe. Do all the things because that helps us.
Do some ratings.
Yes,
it takes 3 seconds. Just like rate the show. Will be somewhere on the apps where you listen to the podcast.
Thanks for getting unstitched with us.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Oh, that was cute.
That was cute. Look at you.
Oh, that was cute.
You're so cute.
Oh, I feel good. I'm excited for the football
That was a good
game.
one. And I feel like we did pretty good time on timing. So maybe that's what we need. We need to purposefully plan things right after so that we stay on task.
Sounds good, actually.
Oh,
baby boy.
You're so cute.
No.